The following program is sponsored by the Artemis Tate Challenges. Cheap Eats is filmed under poverty conditions with a live studio audience dubbed in after the fact.
We've got a really great show planned today. We're going to talk a little bit about how making small alterations to a recipe can enhance the overall flavor. Plus, we have a special guest coming in to talk about acorns, butternuts, and black walnuts, and how even though they're difficult to find, they're really easy to bake. So stick around. Welcome back to Cheap Eats. Now, if you remember last week, I challenged people to send in a recipe that they thought could be tweaked a little bit, and I heard from a young man named Artemis in California who sent me a really great recipe for a banana cream pie. So we're going to actually make it today, but as I said, we're just going to adjust it a little bit. Now, the recipe calls for 3/4 cup white sugar, a 1/3 cup of flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 2 cups of milk, 3 egg yolks beaten, 2 tablespoons of butter, 1 1/4 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 4 bananas, and a baked pie crust. Now, the biggest change I'm going to make from this recipe, Artemis, is that I don't like to use the baked pie crusts. They don't really cater to people that don't like that flaky texture. So what I've done instead is we've gotten a prepared graham cracker crust. It's going to be a little moister, and it'll still bake really well once we put the entire filling in. So let's go ahead and get started. For starters, we're going to need a medium saucepan. First, we're going to need 3/4 cup of white sugar. And I haven't done baking in a while, so it's a little bit clumpy, but 3/4 cup. Shake that down. Go ahead and pour that in. Then we add the flour, and it's important, again, to use all-purpose flour. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, just plain old ordinary table salt. 1/4 teaspoon is not much. The fun part, we need 2 cups of milk. Don't get the ingredients out beforehand. Always keep everything that you can chilled and refrigerated. We're going to add it in gradually so that we can stir everything in smoothly. So, just add a little bit at a time. Now, it doesn't look like much right now, but this is the cream part of the banana cream pie. This is the pudding. If you want to take a look at this. Now, again, this is just with partial milk, but eventually, the secret to a really good banana cream pie is to actually put the bananas on the bottom, right against the crust, and to pour this mixture over the top of it. That way the banana flavor rises up while it's baking. You'll notice that I have not preheated the oven yet. You don't want to get it too hot for too long, especially if you have bills you're worried about. And we'll add in the rest. Now, we want to put this on medium heat. Just medium. And then, basically, we're just going to let this cook until it starts to get bubbly. It's already kind of bubbly just because of the way that I've been stirring it, almost whipping it. But we're going to let that go ahead and cook. And in the meantime, we're going to get out the eggs. We need 3 eggs for this recipe. Now, with most recipes, you like to take the eggs and actually whip them together or beat them together before you put them into the recipe, or at least that's what I always do. But this one, the one that Artemis sent me, specifically calls for them to be beaten together before you add it. There we go. So we'll take our 3 eggs here. Just as a reminder, if you know people that live on a farm or have chickens of any kind, don't throw away your eggshells. Keep them, because I get most of my eggs directly from my mother's farm, and she takes the eggshells back and she feeds them to them. And chickens that eat eggshells, it makes their future eggshells stronger and healthier. As I said, we just kind of whip this together. Yeah, that should be good. So we'll have that ready now. Our mixture, it's not bubbling quite as much as I'd like. Just kind of remember to scrape the sides, mix it every once in a while, and make sure that everything's going together. Now in the meantime, while we're waiting, we can start to work on bananas. The recipe calls for 4 bananas. I got a whole bunch, just to make absolutely sure. It also helps if, you remember to put your eggs away. Oops. Each banana, just strip it of its peel. Oop. Okay, that one decided to slice itself. Alright, so basically, they're soft. Just slice them. Even though it seems like a lot, what you'll want to do is slice them kind of thin. The more banana slices you have, the richer that fruit texture will be, and it complements the cream texture of the pudding that we're making over in the saucepan. Voila! So we got those ready. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to chill these. If I can find plates to chill them. There we go. That'll work for now. Until we're ready to actually put them in. So what we're going to do now, stir it for just a little bit longer. Now in a moment what we're going to do is we're going to add in the yolks. But probably one of the best things that you can do is don't put them directly in, because then you're going to have 2 distinct different liquids and then have to stir them together. So what you want to do instead is you're going to take a little bit of this, a little bit of our pudding mixture, and put that in there. You could probably do better than the spoon I'm using at the moment, but just get enough in there to kind of change the texture of the eggs and get it accustomed to the heat and to the texture of your sugar flour milk mix. And then go ahead and remix it in. Pull this off of heat, but leave it on because we're going to put it back. And then pour the egg yolk right in there. Go ahead and mix these together. We're going to put it back on the heat. For 2 minutes we've been stirring it. We preheated the oven to 175 degrees Celsius. And we're going to add in the butter and the vanilla. Put 2 tablespoons of butter, go right on in while it's still warm. About 1 1/4 teaspoons of, there it is, vanilla extract. I have imitation vanilla, which for a recipe like this works just as well. So remember, you only want a little bit, 1.5 teaspoons. That's about a teaspoon, or a quarter, excuse me, that's a quarter. So you just go ahead and stir that in. We'll stir that up again once it's done. We take our crust, which again, the original recipe called for a baked pie crust, which is relatively easy to make, flour, sugar, shortening, and salt. But I prefer the graham cracker crust for this sort of thing. It cooks just as well. A lot of bananas. And we just go ahead and start placing them in. If you're squeamish about textures, you're not going to like this, because these bananas are gross! Once I get a good bottom layer in, I'm not going to worry about placing the rest of them. I'm just going to put them in. Then we just kind of separate the slices, just dump them in. Now if it looks like a lot of bananas to you, it's not really, I promise, because it's a banana cream pie. It's not a cream banana pie. Alright. Now, you're supposed to stir it to smoothness. Now, because I've been stirring it the entire time, it's almost completely smooth. And I actually prefer, for texture reasons, I like that little bit of bump in there. Like last week's cake, where with the vanilla pudding that we put over the top of it, we left some of the powder in chunks instead of breaking it up and letting it mix in. It adds another dimension to it. And we're just going to pour it right over. Woo! And it's going to overflow, of course. So it looks like I forgot to account for the size of this crust. But live and learn. So since I'm letting it overflow, I may as well let it all the way overflow to the edges of the foil that's underneath. So now we have this lovely mess. Alright. Open that up. I guarantee this is going to spill because of the way I made it, but... Alright, so, very carefully. If you want it to be a smart cookie, pull this out first. Ah! So let this go. We'll let it spill all over. Now, we let this bake for another 12 to 15 minutes, and then we let it chill for an hour. So stay tuned to Cheap Eats. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Elainna McDowell. You may remember me as the newsgirl, gangster, and policewoman from The Escape of Bubbles Malone, but I'm here today to talk to you about something serious. Laughter. Many people can tell you that laughter produces endorphins, but they don't know that endorphins relieve pain and promote well-being. Laughter also promotes blood flow and reduces inflammation. So the next time you see a comedy about 1920s bubblegum smuggling gangster, think of the little newsgirl and remember to laugh. Do it for the children. This public service announcement brought to you by the letter R and the number 4.
Welcome back. We just took the pie out of the freezer where it was chilling. So now, the moment of truth. How does it taste? And I'm too lazy to actually cut it up, so it turned out really well. Basically what happened, because we used this graham cracker crust instead of the baked crust, the entire thing is softer. The bananas on top and the very top of the cream got baked into a darker, richer color, but the inside is still very sweet and creamy. Really lucked out with that vanilla. We used just the right amount, so this turned out very well. Very good. So I'd like to thank Artemis for sending in this recipe, and we're going to take another break here, and we'll see you when we come back.
I used to get so bored all the time.
I was having trouble with my schoolwork. Pokemon Mask Your Face.
It gives you new meaning in your life.
Don't settle for boredom one more day. Try Pokemon Mask Your Face.
Pokemon Mask Your Face is not for everyone. Side effects are mild to moderate and may include hilarity, confusion, disorientation, pinecone trauma, nuclear launch, and repeated outtake disorder. Consult your memory card's free space before recording Pokemon Mask Your Face. Offer ends April 19th. So why wait? Try Pokemon Mask Your Face today.